Good morning, guys. I'm super excited today to have John Missihoun with us. He's the co-owner of Eclectique. It's a clothing brand here based in Houston. John, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Perfect. John, tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, so Eclectique is a men's luxury streetwear brand based here in Houston, Texas. I started this brand alongside my business partner, Osvaldo, who's based in California. However, our warehouse, everything that we're doing, we're essentially based out of Houston. Our goal here is to create a different take on men's luxury wear, where it's a little bit more, not necessarily casual, but a little bit more professional, a little bit different from other brands, taking into account quality and craftsmanship when it comes to design.
Very nice. So tell us a little bit about how you got into it.
Yeah, so this has honestly always been a hobby for me. They say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to take that approach to this business. Since I think high school, I always wanted to start a clothing brand. So this was something that while I was in college, I still had a little brand on the side I was working on. I went into the military where I didn't have as much time, but once I was getting ready to separate, I restarted another brand and I was still working with clothing. Finally, I got to a professional level where financially allowed me to take the risk alongside with my business partner to actually go all in, essentially. And this is what Eclectique is.
Very cool. If puns can't talk today, if somebody wanted to check out Eclectique, where would they go to find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find us in a number of places. Our website is eclectiqueusa.com. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, we're on Pinterest. So a lot of the social networks, Facebook as well, we're there. Just usually you can find us Eclectique, spelled Eclitique, USA on those
Okay,
platforms.
perfect. Do me one favor and spell Eclectique one more time for everybody.
Yeah, Eclectique.
Perfect. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about the size of the company now, where you're at,
Oh,
ambition,
Travis,
that type of stuff.
I'm sorry. I definitely misspelled that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I don't know if you want to ask me. I actually pulled it up now. I actually have it. Sorry. Spelling isn't the best for me either.
No, 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 that's fine. Tell us how you spell eclectic.
Okay. So it's actually spelled Eclectique.
Perfect. And tell us a little bit about your growth. Where are you at now? How many employees do you have? Sizes,
Yeah.
ambitions? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. So we're still relatively small. Right now, working here in Houston, it's myself. So we have a studio located in Spring Street, where we have a lot of merchandise as well as people can stop by, see the pieces that we've created. So right now, just mainly me here in Houston, my business partner in California. We have our designer, main designer is in Brooklyn, New York, and we
Okay.
have another designer in the UK. So it's primarily us four. Kind of starting the brand and building it up. We do outsource a few things like photography,
Sure.
some social media, but that's the core right now.
Okay.
Um,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was going to say in the future, we hope to eventually do pop-ups and then open a brick and mortar once we get to a big enough size.
Very nice. So what do you attribute your growth so far to? You've gotten
Yeah.
to, four employees, you have a store, you're online, people are buying your products. What do you attribute that to?
Honestly, I would probably say it's probably been primarily due to the social media aspect for us
Okay.
personally. Although I do try to go out, network, tell people about the brand, word of mouth does help, but there's only so many people you can actually physically interact with on a daily
Mm.
basis. So I think from the social media aspect, that's probably been the biggest help as far as growth goes, mainly Instagram, Facebook, Meta Business Suites. I think that's been very helpful for us.
And are you doing that all organically or are you paying for ads? Are you doing that type of
We
stuff as well?
we are doing ads as well.
Okay.
So some of it is with people that we've worked with to create organic content, but we do have ads running as well.
Okay. And then tell me a little bit about key demographic. What key demographic are you going for?
Yeah, so mostly men, since this is a menswear brand. I would say from age group from probably 18 to 24, a little bit on the younger end.
Okay.
However, we do still have pieces that are geared for more professional, more older folks, just because of the quality. Just taking into craftsmanship, people of older taste, they care about those things.
Sure.
So that's probably our age range. Someone that's more fashion oriented, care about individuality, style. But yeah, those are kind of our key demographics.
Perfect. So let's switch gear a little bit. Since you started the company, what has been your biggest learning as, let's say, as an employer since you began the business and understanding there's kind of four of you and you're kind of all on equal footing, but
Yeah.
there are what does that look like for you and what have your biggest learnings been?
Mhm. I think that's probably going to be just being able to, one, take criticism and then being able to use that criticism to improve yourself. Because everyone works a little bit differently. So I have a military background, so everything's kind of rigid,
Hmm.
strict. So I'm kind of used to that environment where if you do what you need to, things are like kind of easy. But at the same time, coming from corporate America, things work differently as well. So I think knowing everyone's style, I guess, when it comes to working together to stay motivated, stay enthusiastic about the work that needs to be done, I think that's really key when you're working with others. Once you have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Once you have that kind of that bond where everyone knows what they're doing on a professional but still friendly manner with a small company, I think that's a key to building and growing.
Perfect. Do you have any advice that you would give your 18-year-old self before you got started in any of this that you wish that you knew now?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing would be, man, well, from this, I've learned not trying to do everything yourself.
Sure.
Um, there are, I have my skill sets, but I think reaching out and finding people that have better skill sets or are more passionate about certain aspects of the business, that's really important. That's really key to help you grow from a business and learning as an individual as well.
Perfect. So let's switch gears a little bit again and talk about one of the things that most everybody has challenges with, and that's time management. So
Yes.
as you started your own, when you're in the military, somebody's managing your time. You don't have to worry
Mhm.
about time management. When you enter
Yes.
corporate America, when you're out on your own and you have your own company, time management is oftentimes the number one biggest issue for people. So tell us a little bit about what things you've done to try to solve that problem for yourself, or if it could still be chaos. That's
Yeah.
completely understandable too.
So I'm not gonna lie. Time management for me personally, time management isn't a big issue.
Hmm.
Reason being is just again how like for my corporate job, I was a field service engineer, so a lot of that was me managing. So I had to reach out to my customers,
Sure.
schedule everything from a monthly basis. So I had to be somewhere at a certain time and just make sure I got there. So a lot of it made it not necessarily easy, but it was just naturally mentally, it was just something that I could still continue to do for myself when it came to the business aspect. So again, I think having a schedule, using a calendar, for example, and then planning out everything that you need to do in a week, that's extremely important. That's a big thing that I use personally still to keep me on track and keep me not missing meetings or just keeping my life together and organized in some way. Um, so hopefully that's a little bit helpful. Personally, I don't really struggle too much with the time management aspect. It's just something that I've been kind of used to, honestly.
Sure. No, that's perfectly fine. So, what are some of the common misconceptions about running a business that you have come across, and how have you worked past or worked through those common misconceptions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be time. Um,
Mhm.
everyone's timeline is going to be a little bit different. You might be one thing you see with this industry, clothing business wise, is people think you'll put something out and boom, it'll sell out. That's not necessarily true. It takes a lot of time to actually, if you're thinking about it from a long-term
Mhm.
perspective, to build a brand, establish that loyal customer base. So we're thinking about luxury brands like Gucci, brands that have been here for decades,
Mhm.
not necessarily just pop up out of the blue. Yeah, we're small, we're just getting started, but we have a long-term plan. So I think just taking thinking about your timeline when it comes to accomplishing things, making it more realistic, is something that's really important.
Okay. What advice would you give to any new business owner regarding financial management? So you mentioned you had some money set aside that was allowed
Mhm.
you to kind of get into this. You have a co-owner. But financial management, every time you start your own business, I don't
Yes.
think people realize how scarce finances are until you start your
Yes.
own business and you're like, oh, okay, well, it's just me, myself, and I, and I've got to figure this out. And so, what are some of the pieces of advice that you could give to other new business owners regarding finances?
Yeah, I would say start slow.
Mhm.
Whenever you're spending, take your time and think things through before you, as a business, before you actually decide to start spending. Think about what is coming down the line. Just take your time when it comes to just spending. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've personally learned. Because you might be able to get some type of business funding, or you use your own money that you've saved up. But the thing is, you don't want to waste it. You don't want to go through it super fast. So especially just starting out. So take your time, think thoughtfully, and then make the purchases that need to be done for your business.
Perfect. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Mm. Wow, 5 years, we would hope to at least be. I'm thinking more so from a brand, like how many
Sure,
people know of us. We're
sure.
hoping we're pretty well known in the US as well as places in Europe, places like the UK, France. So I think if we can maybe hit that goal where we
Mhm.
have a strong, loyal customer base, here in the US as well as in Europe, I think that would be kind of gearing us towards having a brick and mortar. So, like I mentioned, we want to do pop ups. That's the next thing.
Sure.
Do pop ups, and then once we get that strong core, open up a brick and mortar.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, John, I greatly appreciate your time today. It's been super insightful. And I'm sure we'll be back in touch in the next few months to see how things are going and go from there. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate your
Perfect.
time as well.
You too. Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.